Imagine this. You're 18 years old, and it's your first day of school. You go into the campus woods with someone you know, someone you trust, but only one of you walks out. Who? Quebec. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The August is still holding on, that thick, heavy August air that makes everything feel slower than it should. Behind the campus, there's a bike path that cuts through a stretch of woods along the Ottawa River. Students use it all the time. It's their spot. On this particular Tuesday, a girl named Josiane with her friends, they are doing exactly that. But then they smell something. A smoke. But not like a cigarette smoke. It's the other kind of smoke. It's something heavier, something strange, something they never smelled before. The kind of smell that doesn't belong here. So they follow it. They go off the path into the trees, and that's when they see it. They see a figure, lying face down in the bushes and burning. Student's brain reaches for the most logical explanation. It must be a mannequin, a sick joke. Now, before I tell you what happened in those woods, let's talk about a place where it happened. A small city tucked right up against the Ottawa River, and on the other side of that river, Canada's capital, Parliament Hill, the Peace Tower, the whole machinery of the nation. And who sits right there on the Quebec bank, quiet, residential, the kind of place where people leave their doors open, the kind of place where parents don't think twice about letting their kids walk to school. This is not a place where things like this happen. Or so they thought. Valérie Leblanc was 18 years old. 18. Think about that for a second. Think about what it means to be 18. You are not quite an adult yet, not really. But you think you are. You are invincible. The whole world feels like it's just starting to open up for you and you can't wait to step into it. Valerie had enrolled into college. If you're not familiar with Canadian educational system, college is something between school and university. It's where you figure yourself out. It's where a lot of people say best years of their life began. For Valerie, it was supposed to be a new chapter, a new life, new start. She had friends, she had a family who loved her, she had grandparents, she had a boyfriend, and it was her first day at school. And this is where the story gets complicated. So August 23rd, 2011. The first day of the fall semester. Not the first week, not the second week. The first day, the very first day of your first semester in the college. When everything feels new, when everything is still ahead of you, when you feel scared and excited at the same moment, when you don't know who will be sitting next to you at the classes, or whether the teachers are going to be any good. That morning, Valerie showed up to campus. She was at the classes, teachers saw her, classmates saw her, so she was there. And then sometime in the afternoon, she walked into the woods behind the campus, and she never came back. And now there's the thing. Those woods behind the campus, they weren't some kind of abandoned dark place, no. It was a very known and popular spot between the students. They used it all the time to hang out, to smoke a cigarette. The bike path ran right through it. Remember your school days or university years or college years. Everyone had a place like that. And that happened in the middle of the school day, in the middle of August, in the middle of the city where nothing ever happens. I want to show you what exactly those students found. School's been in session all day. The campus is alive. Students coming and going, backpacks, bicycles, the normal hum of a normal Tuesday at the start of a new semester. And on the bike path that winds through the wooded area, a path that students use every single day, a path that is ordinary, that is familiar, that is about as dangerous as your grocery store parking lot. A young woman named Josiane is having a cigarette with her friends. This is their spot. Teenagers come here all the time. You probably had a spot like this, somewhere just off the campus, just hidden enough to feel like your own private world. And then Josiane sees something. And her first thought, it was a mannequin, a dummy. I want you to understand that. They didn't even believe that something like that could happen. They thought it was a mannequin, something fake, some kind of student art project gone wrong. She refused to think otherwise. And when they moved closer, it was not a mannequin. It was Valérie Leblanc.
How did you find her?
At 1:15, but I'm surprised no one found it first, because you can smell the burning at the trail, you know. So, and there was people jogging and everything, and we went in the woods to smoke a cigarette, and then we just saw the flames and we went to it, and there she was.
And you figuring that if you found her about 1:15 and there were still flames on her, you think the perpetrator couldn't have been far away?
No. Hey, maybe we walked by him, you know, we don't know. I don't know who he is or something.
What did you see?
It was a girl on the back. There was still fire on her and everything. She was in real bad shape.
Was I don't mean to certainly be graphic, but was she alive at the time?
Oh, no. I think she was dead maybe 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you and how many friends saw her?
We were four.
Four of you walking in the woods,
yeah.
And you smelled the smoke.
Yeah.
What was she wearing?
Well, her clothes were melt on her, so pretty hard to tell there, but so it's pretty hard to tell actually.
She was fully dressed.
Yeah, but I think her pants were a little bit off there, so. Yeah.
So you went home last night.
Oh, I didn't went home. I went to the police office. Yeah.
You've been there all night.
Yeah, well, from 5 to 10 in the.
Now let's talk about what investigators found at the scene. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not very easy to tell, and some of it is very graphic. Valerie's body was bitten badly. The autopsy revealed that the cause of death was a blunt force trauma to the head. Someone had struck her multiple times with enough force to kill her. Her legs were broken, she was partially unclothed, and her body was set on fire. As if someone in the woods, in the middle of the school day, was trying to erase what they have done. The wooden area where the body was found is right directly behind the campus, and it was in the middle of the school day, 4 o'clock on a bright August day, which means one of two things. Either it happened fast, very fast, terrifyingly fast, so fast that nobody saw or heard anything before it was over, or somebody did see something, and they said nothing. Now here's where the story gets even darker, and I mean it literally. That same wooden area, that same bike path, had already been the site of another terrible event. In March 2010, just 17 months earlier, a woman was found there burned exactly the same way that Valérie was, at the same exact stretch of land. Police had investigated the case, and they concluded that it was an attempted suicide. And so those dark woods, despite harboring something so dark, had simply been left as they were. Students still walked that path, they smoked their cigarettes, no one fenced that area off, nobody was warned. It was a suicide. And now, 17 months later, a second body was found burned at the same exact stretch of land. Valérie's family understandably began to think that those cases were connected, but police said no, and that 2010 case was still considered to be an attempted suicide. And this, what happened to Valérie, is absolutely something different. Police immediately launched the homicide investigation. They began canvassing the campus grounds and the nearby locations. But no suspects, no witnesses willing to talk. And a crime scene that investigators were about to discover may have already been tampered before first police officers arrived. And that is where investigation began to fracture. Because those 4 students that found Valérie's body, they didn't just dial 911 and waited. No, they did something first. Something that will be the cause of opening a second investigation. And on top of that, Valérie didn't go into the woods alone, remember? That person was the last one, probably the last one to see her alive. The police spokesman said certain actions were taken by the people who discovered the body of Valérie Leblanc. So there is a second investigation to the one of the murder. Now there's where I want you to slow down with me, because the question of what actually happened before the police arrived to the scene, what those 4 students have done to the body to compromise the scene, was never actually explained to the public.
We're not handing out information on the people that found the body, but they were there legitimately.
So those 4 students were also teenagers. They were smoking a cigarette, they found a body, but they didn't call the police right away. Later they said that they thought it was a mannequin. They were pretty sure it wasn't a real body. So they touched it. They interacted with the body. And after that, they didn't call the police again. They went back to the class. And I want to stress that they went back to the class. And only later, when it sank in that something was terribly wrong, did they call the police. Now, I'm not here to condemn those students because they may have been in a shock. They maybe really thought that it was a mannequin, even after touching it, we don't know. And we don't know how would we behave in that kind of situation. We may think we know, but we really don't. It was something so horrific that maybe their minds just rejected it. But the consequences of that delay, of whatever they touched, they moved, whatever they disturbed in those minutes before police arrived, those consequences were real and they were lasting. By December of 2011, prosecutors announced no charges. 3 of the 4 teenagers had been cleared by September. The 4th cleared in December. I told you before that Valerie didn't go into the woods alone. So who was that friend? Press reports confirmed what many have begun to suspect. So a friend was actually Valerie's boyfriend, a young man from whom she had recently, very recently, broken up. And they both went into the woods that day, but she didn't come back. Police confirmed all of that. They confirmed the relationship. They confirmed it had recently ended. They confirmed that they had met with the boyfriend, sat down with him, asked their questions, done their interviews. And then they announced that he was not a suspect. 2 months after the murder, October 2011, the trail has gone cold. Valerie's mother holds a press conference pleading for public's help. And police, with no suspects, no arrests, no forward momentum, do what investigators do when they have nothing else to offer. They release a sketch, but not a suspect sketch, a witness sketch, as they describe it, of a very important witness. 500 tips had already come in by the time the sketch was released. And now the police were adding a $10,000 reward for information related to the case. $10,000, unclaimed. After the police released the sketch of a witness, he was pictured in a black cap, but other witnesses came out and they said that they saw that man, but he was not wearing a cap. Now at this point, the sketch has already been broadcast across Quebec. It's in every newspaper, on every news website, on every local television channel. Thousands of people have looked at a composite of a man in a black cap. And now you're telling me the cap might not have existed? Which raises a question that I think you need to sit with. Did this man exist at all? Was he a real witness, a real person who saw something and was never found? Or was he in some way created by someone? A misdirection, a phantom that someone, by the reasons we don't really know, and I think we'll never know, needed the police to chase. Every year, and I mean every single year without an exception, Valerie's mother held a press conference. She stood up in front of the cameras and reporters every year. She kept doing it when investigation went nowhere. Think about that. To stand up in front of cameras and reporters every year, to ask strangers to help find the killer of your child. To keep doing it when investigation goes nowhere, to keep doing it when the reward goes unclaimed, to keep showing up year after year, when every year brings you nothing. Now I need to tell you something that happened on a 1-year anniversary of Valerie's death, because it is a very disturbing detail in this case, and it is one that I think has never received the attention it deserved. August 23rd, 2012, exactly 1 year after Valerie's body was found. Her grandfather, Bert Leblanc, goes to visit the memorial that had been erected along the bike path where she was discovered. The memorial that friends and family and strangers had built, right there on that path, to keep her memory alive in the place where she was taken. He arrives at exactly 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 year to the hour that her body was called in. And what he finds? The cross is broken.
Her photo, that was all scratched, all the face. And there was a lady that left a cross there with the Christ on it. And they broke that too. Bad. Bad and angry a bit, but more, c'est plus de la peine. C'est plus de la peine.
Valerie's grandmother said what many in the family were thinking. The same murderer or some murderers always come back to the site of the act It could be that too. It's starting to affect them inside, in their head. And what did the police say when Bert LeBlanc brought this to them? They said it was too early in the investigation to draw any links between the murder and the vandalism. 9 years passed and investigation went nowhere. 9 years of a family keeps showing up. 9 years of the same sketch, of the same witness, with the same reward. 9 years of Valerie's mother staying in front of the cameras and saying it's bringing me down so much. And then the 30th of September 2025, 14 years after Valérie Leblanc was beaten to death in the woods behind her school on the first day of class. And for the first time in all of those years, this press conference is different. Stefan Rivert, 51-year-old at the time of his arrest. A resident of the city, someone who by all available public information had been living in this community, in this city for years. Possibly the entire 14 years since Valerie's death. Police said that he had been known to them before, but only for what they called non-criminal activities. They didn't explain what they meant by that. When he appeared in court, witnesses in that courtroom described him as someone with no emotions. He sat there on a screen in a courtroom via video chat, charged with killing an 18-year-old girl 14 years ago, and his face showed nothing. The mayor of Gatineau said that Valerie's memory will live on forever, and I want to believe that. Police didn't disclose any details on how they solved this case. We don't really know the motive behind the murder, but Stefan Rivert was charged with first-degree murder. Though it will not bring back Valerie. She was 18 years old. She went into the woods trusting she will come back. This is it for today, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.